Okay, hello, this is the third video that I'm making about my experiences with therianthropy, and this time I'll be talking about the experiences that I still do experience today. So, when I awakened back in 2023, therianthropy was still a very small part of my life. I didn't really consider myself that much of an animal. Maybe if I had to define it, it'd be about 20% animal and then the rest human. So it didn't really have that much of an effect, but as I've been in a community for longer, my urges and behaviours have grown stronger, and I feel a lot more animal than I did when I first joined the community. I've kind of been able to accept myself a lot more, and so now I feel a lot more animal than I did back in the time. When I did first awaken, I didn't have any gear. I wasn't very good at quadrobics, obviously. Again, not like that's what makes someone a therian, but yeah. Okay, so as I said, therianthropy has become so intrinsic to me, and it's so entangled into my identity now. I can't separate the two. Like, therianthropy is just who I am. But I also experience therianthropy in a way that isn't spoken about very often, and that is emotionally. So back when I was in, I don't want to say what school year I was in, but back like a year ago, or even like up to a few months ago, I was going through a really rough patch with school, I guess rather college, and there was a lot of exam stress and just stress over my grades, and that had a huge role on my therianthropy, because I'd get into such like a mental state where I'd feel very animalistic, and I'd start to have shifts because I was really annoyed and mad, and I could feel it in the back of like my jaw, like the very back of your teeth just becoming heavier, like they couldn't fit inside my mouth, as if they were like turning into like the canine teeth, and I just had the urge to bite something, anything, whether that be myself or like a piece of paper or a pen or anything, just something, because it was so unbearable, and it still is, because it's still something that I experience when I feel very irritated. And that leads even further to my species dysphoria, because once I start feeling really shifty, I start to feel annoyed that I don't actually have those teeth that I feel very much, and then it just cycles down as part of negative emotions, and then I feel even more dysphoric and even more annoyed, and it's very just not a good cycle to go through, I promise you. But I do feel better now, and I experience that much less, which is good. I still feel very weird around people. As an Evelyn cat, I'm just naturally shy, and it takes me a while to warm up to people, and I'm also just a shy person in general. I always have been, even before I awakened, so whether it's due to therianthropy or any other reasons, I don't know. I can also feel really irritated very easily, which is something that I really, really despise, but I can't really help it. It's like when you're stroking a cat and the cat seems to like it, but then you stroke it too much and it gets irritated and has enough and then bites you and runs off or whatever. Like, that's how I feel around people, and it can be over the very smallest things as well. Like, somebody could be breathing too loudly or chewing too loudly, or eating with their mouth open, or anything like that. Anything that could annoy me, or say something in the wrong way, or not respond in a certain way to how I want them, or respond exactly how I want them to but don't want them to and they do it anyway. It's very easy to feel agitated, and I hate it because it means that a lot of my relationships with people, platonic or not, can be pretty strained, and I really hate it. So I really wish that I wasn't a cat sometimes. I really wish that I didn't get randomly angry at people, and they don't even know what I'm angry for. I just feel generally annoyed. So I really wish that I wasn't a cat in that regard, so I wouldn't have to experience that. Okay, shifts for me are usually minor, and I usually get them I don't know how often a day, but pretty often. Usually what a mental shift looks like for me is I feel more heightened senses, I'd say, but really I just feel more aware of my surroundings. I feel like there's more going on. I feel that I look around more urgently. I feel more just animal. I don't know how to describe it really. I would say oh yeah, my eyesight increases, or oh yeah, I get a better sense of smell, but honestly that's not really the case. Or my hearing improves. I don't have that either. I'm really jealous of therians who have that capability, but for me it's just nothing changes. I'd love better eyesight. I'm almost blind, I swear, but I don't have that ability, unfortunately. I also get the urge to do quads sometimes, or to run or bite and scratch at things. usually whenever I have a mental shift, it almost always includes having phantom shifts as well, so that can usually be like a tail or ears most commonly, or slightly less commonly, but it still happens, a snout or teeth shifts. Again, I don't like them. Muzzle shifts as well, like I feel like I have a muzzle coming off me. And slightly more rarely, but I also get snout, paws, teeth shifts again, and I also get feet shifts, which I really don't like because my feet just feel so compressed and in the wrong body. Like, sometimes I'm wearing socks and like I can't physically put on my sock properly because my foot just feels like it's in the wrong shape to wear such material. And shoes as well, it just feels like my feet are supposed to like grow out of the shoe or just have the shoe not fit at all because my feet are supposed to be a lot smaller as an animal, and I hate them. They make me feel so incredibly dysphoric, and I really don't like having feet shifts, but unfortunately they are getting slightly more common than they used to be, and I don't like having them. And also, again, and more recently, I also get wing shifts quite a lot now. I think that could either be from like a bird cameo shift, because as a cat I'm also just naturally drawn to birds, or probably more likely is a fursonican shift, since my main fursona has like wings, and even just talking about them now, like I can feel them coming out like right from below my shoulder blade and just going like, you know. I quite like having them, to be fair. Sometimes they make me quite dysphoric and I just like want to fly with them, but other times it's quite a nice feeling, so I don't really mind it. But sometimes I guess it does cause a little bit of back pain, which is never fun, but I mainly blame school for that, so it's whatever. I've also noticed that after long emotional episodes, they tend to involuntarily induce shifts, which are very negative shifts and can cause species dysphoria. But after that period of time, I've noticed that from having so many shifts, I go to having like no shifts, and I feel very disconnected from therianthropy as a whole, and I really don't like it. I don't feel like more of a human, and I don't feel like less of an animal either. I just feel like nothing. Like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm supposed to be. It is such a horrid feeling to be without something that I've learnt so closely on in the past like 2 years, probably 3 years, I'm not sure. It's not nice. In terms of my instinct and behaviour, I've kind of had it always since I was a child. Hold on a second. I've always had the urge to chase things, especially like wild pigeons in the street or rabbits, and I feel like that's also kind of linked into my identity now, which is like having like a connection with birds and rabbits especially. I mean, you can see the poster behind me. Birds, many birds of prey, but on the other side there's also smaller birds as well, which might turn it over one day, but I don't really want to. I like birds of prey, they're cool. So I have a bird poster, and I also have a sparrow Pinterest board, where I just put random pictures of sparrows that I find that are cute. It makes me very happy as a cat to have an interest in liking birds, like a ferroform cat would do. More behaviour that I've had as a cat is rubbing people and things, like to leave my scent on them. That actually sounds really weird, but I mean, like, you know when you hug someone and you just feel close to them and then you just kind of like, you know, nuzzle your head on them. That's what I mean. Sorry, it came off really weird. Just like how cats do, because cats have scent glands in their face, and when they rub things, it leaves a scent, which indicates love and also like slightly territorialness, I guess. So that's something that I also do, which is something that cats do as well. Yes, also another thing that I mentioned before that I'm going to talk about now is how I ended up like coming to terms with being a physical therian. Like, it's so much easier to say I fully identify as a cat and I do not recognise my humanity in any way, than to have to say that you identify as a cat but you still recognise you're human, but you don't recognise you're human, and it's like a weird like all human, part animal thing, because people are always going to say you're a human, stop being an animal, you're not an animal, and then you can't really combat that by saying, well, I am, but I'm also human, because that kind of proves them right, and I don't know. It's just a lot easier to explain, yeah, I know I'm not a human, so don't call me that. So I've been able to accept that term. At first, it kind of came off as a bit weird to me, like I'm not a physical therian, but after a lot of questioning and just like self-acceptance, like I do want to be perceived as an animal. Ultimately, I do see myself as an animal. I don't really know whether or not I recognise I have a human body. I do not recognise I have a human body. but I do recognise that I have human level sapience and that I appear as a human. So yes, and I also do not identify biologically as an animal. I know that I have human DNA, I think. I never really thought of myself as a very territorial creature, but it just kind of started clicking over time, and like especially within like the past months, like I've realised, oh yeah, I actually don't like people entering my room. I don't like people taking my stuff without asking. I don't like people even like being near me, invade my personal space when they shouldn't be. For my territory, I thought maybe I could make scent markers, but I don't know yet if I actually will. I don't really know much about how they work and if it'll like really like, what's the word, like cut it out for me. I don't think it'll help me connect my stereotypes very much. So yes, I'm quite territorial, even though I didn't realise it at first. And then like what really helped me like realise, oh yes, I am actually very territorial, was I saw this post on Tumblr. I'll put it like here, or both, I don't know. I'll split at the end of the video so you can like read it in more detail. Then because I'm worried that maybe it'll be a bit blurry and a bit small to read. And can't remember off by heart what it said, but it basically went on about how the person or the wolf in question is very territorial, especially over like people and interests. And I was like, oh my goodness, yes, me too. Since I was a child, and this is also probably more due to other reasons than just therianthropy, but I really like want to be good at one specific thing, and I don't like it when other people also get good at that one specific thing, or when I like one specific thing and then another person comes and is like, oh yes, I also like that one specific thing. Like, no, that is my specific thing, don't try and take that from me. So I guess I'd be worried like if for whatever reason I came out to someone as a Therian in real life, and then like after a month later or whatever, they were like, oh my god, I'm also a Therian, yay! I probably wouldn't like that. I just kind of think, oh, that's my thing. I mean, obviously anyone can be a Therian, I can't police that. Anyone can like anything, I can't police that. But I don't know, do you understand what I mean? It's very frustrating, and it makes me feel like a lot less of a person, and like I'm like not good at anything. You know what I mean? So if I find something that I am good at, or something that I'm passionate about, and then somebody else swoops in and gets better at that thing than I do, it really annoys me. and it does. So yeah, that post really spoke to me. Like, yes, actually I am very territorial, and being territorial doesn't just have to be over like physical land or physical objects. It can also be over interests in people, and that's definitely very much how I feel. Even as a dog, I get very territorial over specific people. Like, I have one connection to somebody who's still very dear to me and has been for like the past 5 years of my life. So before I even awakened as a Therian, I feel so deeply connected to this person. Like, I'm supposed to be next to them at all times, and I'm supposed to constantly love them unconditionally, like a dog. Even though as a dog, and this is going to sound really emo, I'm sorry, but even though as a dog, sometimes dogs get like forgotten about, or like left, or even a dog would love someone entirely and with their entire heart, but then their owner wouldn't feel the same way to the dog, and it would just be like, oh yeah, you're a dog, I guess. And so I guess that's kind of how I feel, is like some canine poetry. So I also get territorial over specific people, and I don't like it because it makes me feel very jealous all the time, and that's also something that I struggle with. Again, I don't know if that's because of my therianthropy or something else, but yeah, I don't like it. I don't like being jealous, it's not fun. Okay, hello. Something that I forgot to mention about being territorial is also about kin types. Now, I've not seen many like Nebulum cat kin types. In fact, I'm the only one that I know, and I don't know how I'd feel if I were to meet another Nebulum cat. Like, part of me would be like, oh yay, wow, that's great, you have the same kin type as me, we must have a lot in we must have a lot in common. But at the same time, I'd also feel like a kind of competition to be more of a Nebulum cat than someone else, which is not something I want. I just want to be Nebulum at my own pace. So I don't know how I'd feel. Additionally, if I were to like get a pet cat, which I do want a pet cat, but I don't want to get a Nebulum because I'd constantly be comparing myself to that animal and thinking that I don't actually act like that animal enough, and therefore it could not be my stereotype, which is not something I know if I can like tolerate, I guess. Like, finding out, oh, I'm not actually a Nebulum, that might hurt me very much. So yeah, even over kin types. And also, I'm not fiction kin, but I have been kind of considering it. If I were to be fiction kin, like, I kind of it's kind of the point of like people not liking doubles, and like I understand, I completely get it. I understand how weird like it must feel to see somebody else be you, but it's not you.
Oh my goodness! It's kind of fascinating to see what you've become. But it's so weird to see someone, not me, beat me and trick people.
Like, that must be so weird. I completely understand, like, why people are against doubles. Doesn't mean that they're any less invalid than you, but, like, that's just kind of, like, the sentiment that I also experience, just to compare it to something. So, that's almost it for this video. Generally my shifts are pretty solid, like, every now and then I get a tail shift, every now and then I get an ear shift, or I get teeth shifts, or whatever, or I do quad aerobics. Yeah, it's kind of pretty repetitive, but I will make a video talking about my experiences, like, again, if I happen to discover another kin type, or I happen to experience more shifts, or whatever. There's still going to be, like, 2 or 3 more videos to this series. I don't know what I'll do when it's over, but you know, I guess keep an eye out for those, because, you know, obviously you love my content. But, that's mainly it. One thing I do want to add is I'm also considering having a heart home, and I don't know how this will come off because I don't know if it'll sound very valid or not, but the entire country of Poland to me is very, very dear. It's the country where said person is from, so it kind of makes sense that I'm also attached to it. I've been learning Polish for the past 5 years, and I'm also part Polish, so, you know, it makes sense. And you know, it's so incredibly dear to me, everything about it, the history, the people, the culture. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It feels like I have such an intense longing for somewhere that I've never actually been. And I would kind of say the same for Yugoslavia. You actually can't see it, but I have like a Tito book on my bookshelf. It's in the earlier parts of the video, but not anymore. But I also would say that that's kind of pushing my boundaries a little bit because of, you know, the history, especially like 30 years ago, what happened there. So, you know, I don't think I really have the right to claim it as being part of me, even though it's not something that I've ever been a part of. So I kind of feel a bit iffy about it. I don't know if both countries actually are my heart home, or even like any of them. So just putting it out there, I guess. So that's pretty much it. That's all I experienced. I'm probably missing something out, and I'm going to rewatch this video or while editing, and I'm going to remember it, and I'm going to be like, oh my god, I should have mentioned that, and then I just like forgot to, and it's going to burn me for a very long time, but I can just mention it in a future video, so it's not that big of a deal if I do remember to actually write a script for it. So that's pretty much it for now. I'll make some more videos, including like a gear tour, and then also a mask and tail tour. So awesome. Goodbye.